What can you add to watercolor? So for a while now, I've been talking about these Derwent drawing pencils, the colored pencils. I love them. They're my favorite colored pencil, but I've never used them in over 2 years on the channel. The reason why is because it takes so long to actually lay down colored pencil. It's a very long process, layer after layer, just to get enough pigment on there, then blend it out with all those mineral spirits. I didn't do any of that. I just did a base layer of a very light color. Almost you can't see it at all because it's on top of white. It's a very light blue, but it's almost like a gray. And then I put another layer with a color on top of that to give it a little bit more pigment, and then blend it over with that gray again, or that blue again. Then put another color on top and blended it over with the last two colors, just to give it a little bit of blending, like burnishing blending, not real blending, it just whatever. But this whole thing, that was the point of this, was just to give a little bit of that focus, but I didn't put it on top of any of the watercolor. And then, where I did get some of that, because these pencils are very opaque. They go over anything. You can color right on top of black paper or whatever else. It'll show up. So what I did was I hit some of the ink lines, and I hit them with the pencil, and I wanted to maybe thicken that up a little bit. So I took a glass dip pen. This is just a little tip for you. If you ever have the lines down, you put some colored pencil down, it gets on the line. Just use a glass dip pen and it scratches it right off. Especially if you put it on thick enough, it'll just scratch it right off. And then you can go back over with some black ink and darken those lines. So that's what I did here. I'll show you exactly how that works. Let's get into it. So first I'd like to say I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season, a wonderful new year. I hope everything is going smooth, and I know that sometimes, I don't know, I heard some people say, oh, I don't make resolutions because you never keep resolutions. I like to do something more like goals, and then if I don't keep it. But the reason that I got for not saying resolution and saying goal was because, well, you know, goals are more concrete. You have a goal that's in mind. Listen, the word says resolute in it. There's nothing more concrete than a resolution. There's nothing wrong with making that, and there's nothing wrong with breaking that should you end up doing that. You say, okay, this is what I know right now. But I don't even know. I've woken up in the morning and had a mindset of what I wanted to accomplish, and things during the day changed that. I wanted to do this, but this happened. So now, guess what? I gotta do this. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You can set a resolution and then not keep it. And here's the other thing. If you don't keep it just for one day, that doesn't make it a dead resolution. You cannot keep it for one day and go back to it the next day. So if you have a resolution, for example, of, I don't know, not eating pasta, which is the worst thing anyone could ever do. I don't know why you would ever not eat pasta. It's a wonderful food. It tastes good. It tastes like a hug. That's what it tastes like. If you want to know what a hug tastes like, you eat pasta. Anyway, if someone can have that resolution and then they go and they eat pasta one day, it's okay. Just don't eat it the next day. You don't have to not do something and then all of a sudden, oh no, that's it for the year. I don't get people who even have diets and they're like, oh, I'm on a diet, but then they go and they eat something that day and they're like, well, today's screwed, so I might as well just shove all this cake in my face. No, you just went off, you just had something you wanted because it was a craving, and then you go back to what you're doing. It's no big deal. Anyway, what was I talking about? I was talking about New Year. I hope everyone has a wonderful New Year. I hope whatever goals you set, you reach. And even if you don't, at least you tried and you'll do a little better next time. And that's really all anyone can ever ask of you, because life is crazy and you never know what's going to happen in life or what's going to be thrown at you. You got to deal with things as they come. You can't just, oh, I have this plan that I'm going to do this year. And then something crazy happens. It always does. And you don't get to do that, or it pushes it down the road a little bit, or whatever the case is. So just take it easy and relax a little. Give yourself some slack. Allow yourself to fail a little more this year. How about that for a resolution? I'm allowing myself to fail at some things this year that I wanted to accomplish, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. It'll be okay. I'll just have to try a little bit harder next time. And I'm not going to give up. If something doesn't happen, I'll just wait a little bit longer and I'll try to get it done a little bit later. It's not the end of the world. People have this weird, they have to stick to this schedule that they set for themselves, but it's an artificial schedule. It doesn't actually need to be there. You did it to yourself, and then you get pissed off when you don't hit it, and you start taking it out on other people. Just relax a little bit. Just calm down. It's okay. Everything's going to be fine. Just start over again tomorrow. It's not a big deal. Every day is a new day to start again, and every second of every day is a new second to not do that thing you didn't want to do, or to do a thing that you wanted to do. It's okay. Just relax a little. Now, I don't know if you realize this or not, but a lot of times I take the information and I go on these little rants because I get information from the comment section. When you talk to me, it gives me material to look at. So here's something. Let's see, who was I talking to? I was talking to Carmen, that sometimes when I sit down to create, it could lead to me reorganizing everything because I go to grab a pen or a paint or something, it's in the wrong spot, or I don't like where I had to go to get it, and that's it. I'm not going to create. I put that to the side. I reorganize my entire space, but then somehow magically when I'm done, I feel just as good as if I had created art that day. I really do. It's like, okay, I got something accomplished. I wanted to move this stuff around. I did. It's more organized to me, the way that I'm thinking of my workflow right now, and I feel good. Everything's wonderful again. So I just want to let you know there is plenty of time to create, and sometimes just fixing your creative space is enough for you. Now that leads me to another little thing here. So during Christmas, my wife gave me a gift. And one of the gifts she got me was this 36 acrylic paint pen set. And I've wanted them for a long time. I've had them on my list for a while, but I was not spending any money until I could make some more money, so that's how that was going. But she saw it on my list, and she got it. So that's what she gave me for one of the things she gave me for Christmas. And it's 1 to 36. They're numbered on top. When I opened the box, not one was in order. The one was like halfway down and to the right, and then the number 2 was on the left. It was not organized at all. That's a catastrophe. We had to stop everything. No more presents can be given. I dumped them out. I put them back in order in the box, and then we were able to move on. But I felt like I accomplished something. I didn't really do anything, I guess, technically, but I just put things back in the box that I had dumped out of a box. But there's a reason that they're numbered. They're set up in color category, and it was bugging me. I was just looking at it saying, oh no, this is all out of order. All of it's, and just dumped it out. I had to fix it. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. My wife knows that I have to do something like that, so she doesn't even pay attention. She just says, okay, we're going to wait a minute. And that's just how that went. Are you like that? Do you have to keep things organized around you? I do. I need things to be easy for my brain to work. And that's maybe a personal problem that I have, that if things are not right way, they're not perfect, but if they're not the right way, my brain doesn't function right, and it takes me 10 times longer to do something because it takes quicker for me to just take a couple of minutes and just fix the problem and then move on with what I'm doing. Because if I don't, it'll take me 10 times longer to just do the thing with everything out of order. So I've got to stop, put everything in order, and then I can function normally, and that's a wonderful thing. And that's how I have to do my job. That's how everything has to be orderly, and I have to know what's happening and what's going on, where things are, and then I can work. It's not a problem. But if things get out of control and I don't mean out of control like, oh, it's a busy thing or a complicated thing. That I don't care about. It's when it's not organized. If it's not organized, if you just threw me in a room where nothing was organized and nothing was in the same spot that it's supposed to be in, and it would just throw me off. I would not be able to function in that kind of a space. So sometimes when I do go into an artistic space, I need to make sure beforehand that stuff is organized properly. But even if I get there, sometimes my mind starts wandering. I start thinking of something else, and I'm like, oh wait, that's not right. I've got to fix this a little bit before I can continue. And that's what I do. So I want to know, is that you? Is that how you operate? Is that how you work? Or is it just me? Is it just that I'm a little crazy with that kind of stuff sometimes, and that's just me? And that's fine too. It doesn't matter to me. Now, that will also take me to another area where people get kind of crazy. So I love hearing people say in the comments they can't believe that the channel is so small and there should be way more people subscribed to it and how much they love it. But you really have to be a certain kind of person to enjoy this content. You have to connect with it personally, and that's very important. Not everyone will. You know, you have to be just weird enough that you enjoy what I'm talking about and what I'm doing here, because a lot of people go to an art channel, this is not what they expect to hear, this is not what they expect to see, and so they stay away. Okay, this was the wrong idea, clearly, and they just mark it, I never want to see this channel again. And that's how some people are, and that's fine too. So I understand why the channel is not as big. There's other channels out there that do the typical art thing, and they have, after the 2 years, they're sitting at about 5,000 subscribers or so, and they're doing fine, and this channel isn't. But I want you to know that I know that there's a reason for it. There's an idea here. But the people who do like the content, they really like the content. So they're going to stick around for a little bit longer than some of the other people who might have just said, oh yeah, okay, that's a nice drawing channel, and then they do something else. But this is different. When you get into this rabbit hole, you fall way down. And so that's a good thing. And there's another part of that, because our community is unlike any other from any other industry standpoint. So visual arts have we have a very finicky fan base, and they get upset when they look at a new channel. So just to give an example, if you like a channel and then you find another channel, and this is not, I'm not saying you in particular, because you're obviously here. This is clearly not you, but other people are sometimes this way. And even sometimes I've caught myself doing this, but this is how people are. They don't necessarily like anything new. They like things to be the same. So let's say they're going along, they really like a channel, they really connect with it, they really get in tune with it, and they're just all about it. Then all of a sudden they see another channel that's similar, not the same, but similar in some ways, same topic, same subject, that kind of thing, art channel. All of a sudden they get defensive, like, wait, you're just imitating this person, you're not doing your own thing, you're just and I've received comments like that before, and I understand it. I don't get angry at that. It's just that, artists, they kind of steal from each other in a way. There's just, someone does one type of painting, someone else is bound to do that type of painting. It doesn't mean that anyone has ripped anyone off. And I have been guilty of this in the past, where I've had followed an artist for a very long time. They do a very specific type of art, and then another channel comes on and they're doing that kind of art. And I get, oh, what are you, just copying them? No, that's not what they're doing. And if they are, it's a form of flattery. They like that style. They've started doing that style. It's not anything, unless it's so identifiable that only that one person has ever done that style, which is never. I've never seen that in my life. There's always someone doing someone else's style, because that's art. You see something, you're like, oh, wait, I have ideas for that. And then you do it. As long as you're not copying the exact piece like item for item and stroke for stroke. But if it's the idea of the art, like if someone did the kind of art that I did, if they put blobs of paint down and then put in ink to give detail, I wouldn't say they copied my art. Oh, they ripped me off. They may have copied what I was doing, but they didn't rip me off. And I'm not the first person to do this. Plenty of other people have done this. So it's just, people are weird. They're finicky with what they like and what they're into, and sometimes they get a little carried away. Don't do that. Don't get carried away. If you see anybody that copies anything that I'm doing, if you like the style, then you just compliment them. You don't jump on them and say, hey, that's a terrible thing you're doing, you're copying this person, because that's okay to do that. It's all right to do it. And not only is my art not original in the fact that other people have done this type of art before, I'm sure, but also the fact that I do the art and then talk about other random things. That's been done before. Not by a lot of people, but I know at least 2 people that have done that. Maybe 3 people that have done that. And their channels are a lot more successful than mine, but they've been around a lot longer than I have. So I know that it's okay that those things are happening. That it's okay that it's a smaller channel with a smaller crowd. It'll be wonderful, and I enjoy every little second that I get with you, and I don't complain about it. This is not something to complain about. This is not the main goal here, is to get to a little bit bigger status in the channel. But the entire process getting there is a part of the journey, and it's fun. I've been having a blast. I love doing this. I love talking to you. I love hearing your comments. I know for some people it's a little frustrating, but I even like to see, like, okay, this is when the video goes out, this is how many people have seen it already by this time, and usually this is how many people see it, but this time this is how many people see it. It doesn't drive me crazy. I don't get angry. Like one of the last videos that I did, it was the day after Christmas it was released, and it did horrible the first day. It was the worst. I don't know how it is now, because it's right around that time, so I haven't really paid attention to it. But I'm saying it did horrible, and I thought it was going to do incredibly well, that video, but it didn't, and that's okay, because I did hear from some of you, and I enjoyed hearing from you, and I enjoyed listening to what you had to say, and that's really what this is all about. So I am going to comment a little bit about this drawing and what I'm doing here, but this was just, I started out not really considering what shapes and forms I was going to put on there, but I just did what I was going to do. I just did decide I was not going to put an eye here. No, there's no eyes in this art. I've done that several times in the past, and I don't want to just only do that. I like to do that once in a while because I think it brings some interest, but this time I didn't, and I think it was okay. And then I wanted to add some colored pencil, but only a little bit in the background, not put it on top of the watercolor. Just put a little bit in the background and see if I can just blend it a little bit, give it some atmosphere around it. And I think it was okay. It wasn't the most wonderful thing. It didn't blend all the way. I didn't put layers and layers and layers where I could put the odorless mineral spirits and blend it out. I didn't do that. But I'm happy with this. I'm fine. It was fun to do, and it was fun to talk to you. So like this video if you've ever thought, hey, that person copied that other person, and I'm a little bit mad about that. And then you thought about it and realized, oh, it's okay that they did that. I do that too, because I don't always draw everything that I've never seen before. I kind of go off the styles that I'm familiar with and that I've seen before and that I like. And if you've realized that, that's a wonderful thing. All right, that's about it for me. I'll see you in the next one.